Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is CageChat, and we are coming off the fallout of UFC 240. And it's left me with an almost burning question, which is, could Max Holloway be the greatest of all time? Now, yes, that is quite a hot take from the weekend, especially with the likes of Jon Jones, Anderson Silva, and GSP. But I saw that the longest winning streak, or longest active winning streak, had Anderson Silva at 16, GSP, DJ, and Jon Jones at 13, and of course Max Holloway at 12. Now, the names that I just said, Anderson Silva, GSP, Jon Jones, are all considered the GOATs of MMA. DJ sort of got shunned out because he's at a 125-pound division, so he's a lot lighter, and the stature of his opponent wasn't always the best. Probably bar Henry Cejudo now, and he never went up to face TJ Dillashaw or vice versa. So he sort of got shunned out, but he is one of the greatest of all time. He's technically one of the most beautiful fighters to watch, especially that flying armbar he did against Ray Borg, I believe, at UFC 216. So he has the skills, and Max Holloway is slowly creeping up behind them. And I guess he gets the same treatment as DJ does, maybe not to the further extent that he's at 145 pounder. He's a lighter guy, whereas Jon Jones is 205 and Anderson Silva is 185 and GSP at 170. So I think those three and the statures of opponent that they had in their prime, Anderson Silva had the likes of Bisping, who he lost to, but Chris Weidman, Luke Rockhold, and Jon Jones with DC and Gustafsson, their divisions were a lot powerful when and how Jon Jones is still at the top of that division. But Max Holloway is doing the same as Jon Jones is doing at 145. Now, of course, he went up to 155 for the interim championship title match against Dustin Poirier, but that doesn't really leave a blemish on his career at featherweight, and he is on a 12-fight win streak. His only losses are to Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier twice. Once, of course, in the featherweight division in his debut to the UFC, but it's a shame he didn't avenge that loss. I think that would give him much more than a solid argument to be one of the greats of all time. He's definitely one of the featherweight greats of all time, with wins over Aldo twice. He defeated Brian Ortega quite convincingly. He was an undefeated up-and-coming fighter, and he just put Frankie Edgar probably into the 135-pound division because he went 5 rounds with him. Now, it was in fact the first time that Max Holloway had been to 5 rounds in the featherweight division. So you can see he's getting wins in that. In the third or fourth round, he's getting TKO wins against people like Anthony Pettis, Jose Aldo twice, as I mentioned previously. He's getting decisions against Jeremy Stephens, submissions against Cub Swanson even. His resume for a 145-pounder is outstanding. And he needs to be put into the title as one of the greats of all times. And should he beat the likes of Volkanovski and Zabit, who else is there for him to challenge? It's very much like that Jon Jones. He is the Jon Jones of featherweight. Anyone they step in front of him, he knocks down and he moves on to the next one. And I think Volkanovski and Zabit are probably, in terms of chances of winning the title, are higher than the likes of Johnny Walker and Jan Blachowicz, and of course Thiago Santos, who Jon Jones recently just beat. So I think Jon Jones is slightly less to worry about in terms of who's coming at him for the throne than Max Holloway. And Max Holloway, there's always a potential cut issue, there's potential injuries in there, potential pullout, which Jon Jones sort of frames away from in terms of injuries. Of course, Jon Jones' character is shades below what Max Holloway's character is. Max Holloway is a very fun, bubbly person. He's a great role model for those in Hawaii and those coming up, and he's been in the game for 7 years now, and he's only 27 years old, so he's not even in his prime. He's probably got 3 or 4 years in his prime, going up to 31, 32. Now, he has been in a lot of wars, whether that will sort of stunt his career up until 34, 35. How long has he got left at the very top? But I think, should he get 2, 3 more wins, should he at least equal Jon Jones and Anderson Silva, who probably isn't going to get a streak going like that again, and his streak's over. It's going to be interesting where Max Holloway ends up in the greats of all times. He's one behind GSP, who looks like he's retired, of course, and it's only really Jon Jones standing in his way because Demetrious Johnson's no longer in the UFC. Should he return perhaps and get a win? Who knows? Although DJ's streak was over as well with Henry Cejudo beating him. So it's only really him and Jon Jones fighting for the winning streak there. But Jon Jones is one ahead. Now, with Max Holloway moving up to lightweight, it could show us what Jon Jones could do at heavyweight, in fact. Because he's so dominant in his division, but his stature and the way he's built, should he move up to heavyweight, could he look a little too small even? Now, Daniel Cormier's settled in very well, but the lean nature of Jon Jones and his height, should you add 20, 30 pounds, it's not the 10 pounds that Max Holloway added. How is that going to affect Jon Jones? Is he better staying in the light heavyweight division and really cementing a legacy at 205, or should he move up? He's got an extra 50 pounds to potentially play with. Now, I don't think he'll go up to 260. I think if he does go up to heavyweight, it'll be somewhere within the region of 220 and 230. Very much like how Deontay Wilder fights at, I believe, 214 in boxing. I see Jon Jones staying at that sort of weight where he's very quick. He's got the agility to throw the spinning elbows and spinning kicks. And he's got excellent wrestling. But if he comes into that heavyweight division with a 30-pound deficit to some of them fighters, it's going to be a tough night for him. So I think Max Holloway, I think Jon Jones should be looking at him as an almost an example of maybe not to go up a weight class, stay in his weight class, become the greatest light heavyweight ever, just how Max Holloway has become the greatest featherweight ever. Now, for him to become the greatest of all time, I do think that he needs to avenge that Conor loss, whether it's at lightweight or featherweight. He probably needs to avenge that loss, and I think he does at this current moment. If Max Holloway and Conor was booked, I think Max Holloway would beat him. The Max Holloway that we have now compared to the one that fought Conor is absolutely levels above him, and the way he's able to adapt himself to his opponent's strengths. Now, Frankie Edgar was coming into this fight being touted as his wrestling's too good, his wrestling's too powerful, he's too quick for Max Holloway, and Max Holloway just decided, you know what, we're going to go 5 rounds together. We're going to go round the round, and I'm going to beat you. Similarly to how he did against Ortega. Ortega's weakness was his striking, and he absolutely outboxed him. He never let him take it to the ground and really use his jiu-jitsu. He never got too close. He kept his distance and absolutely pieced Ortega together. But yeah, this is more about who Max Holloway has in front of him before he can be touted as the greatest of all time. Now, I think, as I said previously in this video, I think he's got featherweight down as the greatest of all time. But we have got Volkanovski, who, from what I've heard, cut down from 216 as a rugby player in New Zealand or Australia. And he's now fighting at 145, so he's a lot stockier. He's got a lot more muscle than Max Holloway has. So I think that's the real challenge for him next. And then Zabit, of course, after that. Should he retain the title? Now, should he do that? That'll put him on 14-fight win streak. Now, Jon Jones is probably going to fight in December, so we've got at least, it's going to be a time where there's one fight between them, unless Jon Jones gets banned, of course, or injured, or next year moves up to heavyweight for a fight, and Max Holloway can catch up. But I think the race is between those two at the moment as who are the greatest two fighters at the moment. I think Anderson Silva's in there, GSP, of course, and of course Demetrious Johnson are all up there. And we have been blessed with some great fighters, because these have all really come out within the last 5-6 years of UFC and, of course, MMA as a whole. Where do you put Max Holloway within your greatest of all time rankings? Is it even close? Do you put him above the likes of Jose Aldo, Conor McGregor? Do you put him anywhere in here, GSP or Anderson Silva? Let us know in the comments below. Now make sure to follow me at CageChat YT on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you on the next video.